Welcome to this video where we're going to be speaking about Irish legends and mythologies. We're going to look at this in the style of our channel, so it's not really teaching as such, more exploring. We ended our last video with this picture saying we're going to look at Hercules and his 10th labor, but the video is not just about Hercules. Let's go to this part just to introduce the 10th labor. It says, Hercules was required to travel to Erythea in order to obtain the cattle of Geryon as his 10th labor. On the way there, he crossed the Libyan desert. So that's interesting that we have Hercules crossing the Libyan desert to get to his 10th labor, which would be on the Iberian Peninsula. So if you watched the previous video, that might make sense why Hercules is crossing the Libyan desert. We're going to speak about this tower. It's quite a large tower. It's called the Tower of Hercules. And this is in Galicia, Spain, which could be very significant to our study, this region of Galicia, Spain. We have spoken about it quite a lot on the channel. Okay, so according to a myth that mixes Celtic and Greco-Roman elements, the hero Hercules slew the giant tyrant Geryon after 3 days and 3 nights of continuous battle. Hercules then, in a traditional Celtic gesture, and I remember Hercules is a Greek demigod, but now he's doing a Celtic gesture, buried the head of Geryon with his weapons and ordered that a city be built on the site. The lighthouse standing atop a skull and crossbones, representing the buried head of Hercules' slain enemy, and this is on the coat of arms of the city. So Hercules building a tower, but then we have this statue here of a different person in these legends, and this is Breoghan. So this is where it gets a bit strange. I can't promise that this video is going to make sense, but we'll do our best. Okay, so we're going to look at this legend now, and it says, King Breoghan, the founding father of the Galician Celtic nation, constructed a massive tower of such a grand height that his sons could see a distant green shore from its top. The glimpse of that distant green land lured them to sail north to Ireland. According to the legend, Breoghan's descendants stayed in Ireland and are the Celtic ancestors of the current Irish people. A colossal statue of Breoghan has been erected near the tower. So what are we to make of this? We've got, two different characters in these legends, Hercules and Breoghan, but they're both involved in the construction of a tower. So are we to connect the two or leave them separate? So yeah, let me know what you know about this, if you'd like to share anything. So I would like to think about the name Breoghan. Now, the only thing I could find for Breoghan was that it could have the meaning of sturdy shoe. So that's a potential meaning for this, could be sturdy shoe. Now that doesn't really help with our study. So let me explain why it doesn't really help. We were speaking about trying to identify King Phrygas, a Trojan king of the Phrygians. And we said it could be important to try to identify King Phrygas. And that's why some of our viewers have been, maybe suggesting, why don't you look at Breoghan? But now Phrygas and the Phrygians, we learned that the etymology will be more connected to, let's say, like mountain, being high. And that doesn't connect with sturdy shoe. But this doesn't make sense really, because we are speaking about legends, so legendary history. It says Brigantia is a city built by the king Breoghan. According to the Celtic tradition, Breoghan built Brigantia with its high tower, from which you could see the coasts of Ireland. So if Breoghan is building Brigantia, isn't Brigantia going to be influenced by his name? And Brigantia is going to be a name that's going to be connected with mountain. I think we'll see here that it could have the meaning of like a high place or a mountain. Now that's not the same as sturdy shoe. So I don't know how reliable this site is, urbandictionary.com, but I just came across this. Notice that they've got briganos for Breoghan, and there we see brig, how that would connect with the brigantes and mountain and being lofty or high. So we just have a potential, that's all I'm going to say. Just potentially, we have an option for Phrygas, king of the Phrygians, so a Trojan king. Could it be connected to Breoghan? But what are we to make of Breoghan? The fact that his statue is near to the Tower of Hercules. I just wanted to make one point here for our learning. It speaks about that this is coming to us as medieval Christian history, so we might speak about that, of Ireland and the Irish Gaels. So the Gaels, we have spoken about this, but we'll just say this again, that for the Gaels, we're speaking predominantly of Ireland and Scotland and the Isle of Man for the Gaels. Okay, now the next name we're going to go to in these legends is Bile. Now, Bile is the son of Breoghan, so we've mentioned Breoghan, and Bile is the father of Milesius. So now we're going to follow this name Milesius. So this gets quite interesting. So Milesius, so the ancestor of the final inhabitants of Ireland, so the sons of Mil, or the Milesians, who represent the vast majority of the Irish Gaels. Okay, so we've just showed the map for that. So let's go to the page on the Milesians. This was quite interesting. It says, some antiquarians, now this word means people that just study things that are old, looking back at the ancient times, link the Irish Milesians with the ancient Greek Milesians, inhabitants of Miletus. So the Irish Milesians, and we've got the Greek Milesians. And we do have this scholar saying that no link exists. But let's have a look at this because it's very interesting. So we're going to go now to the Greek mythology. So in the Greek mythology, we have Miletus, founder of the city of Miletus, and Miletus was a son of Apollo. So this would be the Greek Milesians. But we're going to think about what we've learned about these connections with Apollo. If you recall, we were speaking about Belenus. So now we're going back to the Celtic mythology. Belenus, the Celtic healing god, often identified with Apollo. And if we go to the names, we see Bile. So Belenus, we could also say Bile. So let's just see how that could actually make sense. So we've got, now this is the Greek, so Miletus was a son of Apollo. But if we insert Belenus or Bile, it would be Miletus was a son of Bile, which would make sense for this genealogy, because we'd be saying Milesius, now we're in the Irish, or the Gaelic, Milesius was a son of Bile, but is it Apollo? So I just thought it was interesting that we do have people making these links between the Greek and the Irish mythology, and then some scholars saying that no link exists, but you can actually see how potentially it does work. But yeah, it's not so straightforward, because then who is Breoghan? So when you're looking at these legends and mythology, it doesn't always work out the way you think it's going to be. It's not straightforward, quite mysterious. So to try and bring this video together, I'm going to we're going to go to one more name for these Irish legends. Yeah, like I was trying to say, we're not trying to teach the legends. It's more of exploring. Now this next one, Goidel Glas, Latinized as Gaetelus, is the creator of the Gaelic languages and the ancestor of the Gaels. So Goidelic will be connected to the Gaelic languages. Now this legend is connected with Egypt and Scota, the naming of Scotland. We mentioned this legend briefly in one of our videos where we were just looking at comments from the viewers. So we briefly mentioned it, we didn't go too deep into it. But this is going to be connected with the Egyptian pharaoh and Scota and Goidel Glas. This gets quite interesting. I would like to try to see if we can bring the video to some sort of conclusion, because I think it's going to be quite a bit of a strange one maybe. We're going to now think about Hercules again, because we started the video looking at Hercules and this 10th labor. How big a role does Hercules play in all this? Okay, so the Celtic Hercules. When you consider what Hercules did for Gaul, it is no wonder that they loved him. Now Gaul would be this region of France, Germania, and it says other myths said that Hercules was the father of Keltos, Galatos, and Iberius, the ancestor of the Celts, the Galatians, and the Iberians. We only mentioned Keltos, son of Hercules. We didn't mention these other ones, like Galatos and Iberus. So this connects Hercules with these regions of France, Spain, and with these Celtic peoples. And there was just one other thing I wanted to read from this page, how it says Hercules' appeal was similar to that of the Norse god Thor. So we spoke about that in one of our previous videos. Is Hercules the same as Thor? So this is what we're trying to take from this. Is Hercules worshipped in these different regions under different names? So to finish, I would like to read quite a bit from this page. The scholar has a very interesting perspective. So Anthony Adolphe, this could help just, I wouldn't say make sense of everything we've looked at, but just to try help with our perspective. So it says, if you look into British and Irish origin myths for any length of time, a very curious fact comes to light. The Gaels in Ireland believed that their ancestor Breoghan, who was himself supposedly descended via a long line of wandering Gaels from Noah, had lived at the port called A Coruña in Galicia on the northwestern coast of Spain. So we know where that is. Apparently quite separately, Brutus of Troy is believed to have stopped somewhere on the Spanish coast and met an explicitly Herculean giant-slaying hero called Corineus. So we are going to speak about Corineus, who was descended from a line of exiled Trojans and who joined him on his journey to discover Britain and help him get rid of its giants. It's not stated where this meeting took place, but in Galician mythology, A Coruña was said to have been founded by Hercules. So just very interesting, just so we can just kind of recap, that Hercules is being strongly connected with this region, and Breoghan is being connected with this region. But now we also have the story of Brutus, the Trojan, coming in this region, and we spoke about the legends of Brutus being the first king of Britain. But I really want to get to the main point of this. Where were we? So the Gaels are supposed to have come from a place called A Coruña in Spain, founded by Hercules, and Brutus' Herculean sidekick from Spain was called Corineus. So there could be a connection maybe with the names. I actually didn't think about that when I was preparing. I wonder if that's what it's alluding to. yeah, so all this seemed too much to be complete coincidence. So he tries to correspond with some experts. Let's go to the main points. It seems likely that originally both the Irish and the British had myths claiming descent for Breogan and Corineus from Hercules. But as their myths developed, each independently got rid of Hercules and replaced him with something biblical and Trojan respectively, more suitable to the way they wanted to see themselves. So I just thought this was a very interesting perspective and account to think about, trying to get rid of Hercules in the genealogy. Why would they want to do that? So I just thought this could be something interesting to think about. So let's speak about Corineus, because it could relate to our previous video. We didn't speak about Corineus when we were looking at the story of Brutus the Trojan. Okay, so Corineus in medieval British legend was a prodigious warrior, a fighter of giants, and the eponymous founder of Cornwall. So in this Brutus legend of Britain, Corineus is supposed to dwell in Cornwall, so this part here. So it's interesting how we do actually have these, I use the word intensity here for the Britons, with Cornwall. So yeah, that is interesting that, Corineus is connected with Cornwall. But yeah, this gets very strange. I just want to see. I don't think there was anything from here that I wanted to read. Or was it? Yeah, it was this part. Okay, yeah. Curly also suggests there is a parallel between Corineus and Hercules. So that's what this page was saying about. There seems to be a similarity between Hercules and Corineus, because he calls him a Herculean giant-slaying hero. So comparing Corineus with Hercules, and now on a different scholar, saying there seems to be a parallel between Corineus and Hercules, the way Hercules defeats the giant Antaeus. Now this could connect with our previous video. Our previous video we were speaking about Alexander the rough he-goat and Hercules as the goat hero. And in the Macedonian royal line, we had a name called Corineus. Hopefully this loads. Yeah, Corineus in the Macedonian royal line. So Corineus meaning the goat. So could there be a connection with the name Corineus, which means the goat, and Corineus? I don't know if it could be. It seems very similar, but that would be another connection between the two. If Corineus means the goat, and we're learning about Hercules, maybe, this like a goat hero figure. We still have to try and learn more about that. Now, this is the really strange part. I don't want to try to read this all out. It's speaking about Geoffrey of Monmouth. Yeah, one of our viewers corrected me on my pronunciation. So now hopefully I'm getting that right. Geoffrey of Monmouth. This is the legendary history of Britain with Brutus. But now it's also speaking about Goidel Glas, who we were learning about as the founder of the Gaels. Trying to see if I can find that page. I've got so many pages open. So Goidel Glas, the ancestor of the Gaels. So it's like two different legends. So Brutus being connected with the Britons. So Brittany, France, England, Wales, and Scotland. But then the Gaels, we have a different map. You can see how it's Ireland and Scotland with the Isle of Man. And that's with Goidel Glas. But what this is saying is that Geoffrey of Monmouth uses precisely the same sequence of locations for Brutus's journey, so that these journeys seem to be the same for Goidel Glas and for Brutus. So there's just something strange going on here. I can't say that I understand it yet, so I need some help trying to figure out what's going on here with these legends of Brutus and these legends of Goidel Glas, and also with Corineus. is it some sort of muddling up or confusion with the connection with Corineus and Hercules? So that's why I would just like to finish with this page, because obviously the person's going to be, studying this and maybe knowing more about it than we do, speaking about, this channel. With the, if we just go to that, trying to get rid of Hercules. So why would they want to get rid of Hercules? So, Hercules, this famous demigod, killing monsters, so very famous. So why would they now want to get rid of them from their genealogy, and now trying to use the Bible? So maybe trying to go for something with being more respectable, or even going to maybe the Trojans. Is it to try blur the lines, muddy the waters, so it's hard to see what's going on? So yeah, definitely this might just be the first attempt at this, looking into this. Let me know if you have if you see anything that I've missed, or things about this these legends and would like to try help. So yeah, I think Hercules is definitely a very important figure to this study, having a lot of influence in this Celtic world with the Celts, and Germania, if he's the same as Thor, worshipped as Thor. So we'll keep learning more as we go with Hercules. We did say we were going to try to do a summary, but I just wasn't expecting this video to be this long and also this complicated, if I could say that. So we're not going to do a summary yet. I'd like to continue with our study, and maybe towards the end we will see what have we learned about Hercules. Is it starting to make more sense at the end? So we're going to follow the goat, if we can say, because we said we're going to try to follow this the trail of where does the goat lead us in the study. So thank you for watching this video, and have a good weekend. If we don't get a video out for the weekend, have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week.